In my last video, I answered the question of whether the Baltimore Ravens should make a blockbuster trade for a certain wide receiver. I discussed the Baltimore Ravens being in the valley of decisions. And if you missed that video, I'll be sure to link it right here or here in the cards for you. And so in today's video, I'm continuing that conversation, especially in light of us starting our season 0-2. In what should have been a victory celebration for our home opener at the bank, quickly turned into the Raiders putting on a camp on how to effectively blow a double-digit lead. And so for that, I have questions. Let's start with the offensive line, particularly the right side. We've seen the Baltimore Ravens rotate the left tackle between Pat McCary and Roger Rosengarten, but we can't get that same rotation, so to speak, at right guard. We can't see Ben Cleveland put in instead of Daniel Falele because he's just not it. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot because we refuse to put in the best players on the field at all times to help us win games. Ben Cleveland is bound to be better than Daniel Falele. And over the offseason, we had an opportunity to bring in a veteran to solidify this offensive line at right guard. We could have brought in Dalton Risner. Now, I know Dalton Risner is a starting left guard. However, over this offseason and the season before, he took snaps at both right and left guard. So there's that. And I've been told, Yolanda, relax. It's going to be okay. It's going to take some time. It was only week 1, and we were playing the Chiefs, the reigning champions nonetheless. Give it some time. And according to John Harbaugh, our offensive line will be A-OK. For those of you who said that and believe that, do you still believe it now after we have lost 2 games straight and starting the season at 0-2? At what point do we want to start holding accountable this front office and these coaches for these decisions that they continue to make time and time and time again? It was not wise or in our best interest to let go of Morgan Moses and Kevin Zeitler. At a minimum, keep Kevin Zeitler. But I would have preferred to have some veteran presence at our offensive line so that we are not starting rookies or inexperienced individuals at these varying positions. The offensive line, being the trenches, is of utmost priority and concern, especially blocking for what we have called and what we have paid our franchise quarterback. And you thought Chris Jones lit into us last week? Newsflash, Max Crosby had himself a field day over there with that right side of the offensive line. They could not withstand Max Crosby, and we had no answer for him. And after yesterday's performance, I'm convinced I do not need to see any more. I wholeheartedly believe that McCary and Falele have sufficiently earned their spots on the bench this upcoming season, or at least for now. Only 2 out of 32 NFL teams have ever made it to the postseason after starting the season 0-2. In 2022, it was the Cincinnati Bengals. Last year, it was the Houston Texans. And only 5 out of the 32 NFL teams have gone on to have a winning season after starting 0-2. It's not looking good for us right now. 2 games into the season, let's have a look at our team stats. As we can see, Lamar Jackson has 520 passing yards, but the key that I'm honing in on here is that he has 167 rushing yards. Despite us bringing in Derrick Henry, our rushing yards leader is still our quarterback. That's problematic. In yesterday's game against the Raiders, Lamar Jackson completed 21 of 34 passes. He had 247 yards, averaging 7.3 yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 interception. And I'm still mad at Rashad Bateman for dropping that catch, which resulted in an interception. By contrast, Derrick Henry, our premium running back, as we can see here in yesterday's game, he turned the switch on in the second half. And I thought at the beginning of the second half, we were actually going to dial him up and we were going to be successful in the run game. Boy, was I wrong, and I don't know why I thought that given the state of this offensive line. But back to Derrick Henry, we see that he finished with 18 carries for 84 yards, averaging 4.8 yards per carry, one rushing touchdown. This leads me back to my original statement. I have questions. I have questions regarding this coaching staff, specifically John Harbaugh and his mismanagement of games that we continue to see, throwing the challenge flag at inopportune and inappropriate times, not really knowing when to call timeouts and use those effectively. These are the things that I want to see a difference in, but I continue to wait, hoping that we will see something different. Sadly, it's not. One other problem that I see with John Harbaugh is his failure to hold his staff accountable. If his offensive or defensive coordinators are not utilizing the personnel to their strengths, and we are not maximizing the moment, and we are not seeing improvements as the game goes on, then I need to see more aggressive approach from John Harbaugh. And if we can't get that out of him as the leader, as the head coach, then maybe his time is up. That now leads me to Todd Monken. Why are you continuing to struggle with knowing how to use Likely and Andrews on the field at the same time? Why do we continue to see a struggling and ailing offensive line, particularly on the right side? Why are we going through the motions and allowing the defense to know exactly what plays are going to be dialed up at any given time, given the personnel that's on the field? Why can't we vary it up and change it up a bit to keep the defense guessing? And since I'm asking you questions, Todd Monken, why on a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and short was Derrick Henry on the bench? We signed Derrick Henry specifically for that reason. Make it make sense, because right now I'm just not understanding it. Last question on offense. I keep asking this question in hopes that I will see the answer begin to take shape. Sadly, I've been mistaken, but the question is, what is our offensive identity? I don't know. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you can discern who we are as a team on offense. One last question. This one is on special teams. Have we noticed a decline in Justin Tucker's ability to kick field goals beyond 50 yards? I always try to give Justin Tucker the benefit of the doubt because he has been Mr. Reliable, Mr. Dependent all of these years for so long. But it is something that we need to look into. We need to consider it. We also have to address it. Having those tough, difficult conversations is not always pleasant, but if we are talking about advancing our team forward, it is necessary. Also, today, we learned that Tyler Huntley signed with the Miami Dolphins as their backup QB. I was a little bit bothered by that because with this O-line, and I hope I'm wrong, I don't want to ever see Lamar Jackson go down. But if we have to play a game without Lamar, I was really hoping that Tyler Huntley could be called up from the practice squad and make his way up to that 53-man roster, because I did not like what I saw from Josh Johnson over the preseason. Looking at us going into the next 3 games of the season as a team, up next we face the Dallas Cowboys. Following that, we have the Buffalo Bills. Next, Cincinnati Bengals. At the rate we are going, if no changes are made, I can absolutely see the Baltimore Ravens starting this season 0-4 or maybe even 0-5. Not a very good look for us right now. So I left several questions on the table for the Baltimore Ravens to answer, and I hope we can get clarity in the upcoming days. That is all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give me a great big thumbs up. And if you are new, welcome. Please hit subscribe, join the family, and turn on your post notifications so that you are notified every time content is released on this channel. Keep your heads up, flock. Let's band together and help cheer our team on. They need us. But more importantly, we need to see the change that we know needs to be made, starting in that front office. I'll see you soon. Take care. Stay safe. Go Ravens. God bless.